this idea, so Assad's out, people are supposed to be happy about this because he's gone, but then Al-Qaeda's in now. And I want to talk about Idlib because people are cheering on Al-Qaeda. You got the guy, like you said, Giuliani going on CNN saying it was a phase. Could you imagine if we just let out all the gangsters in the US prisons when they're all older now and they say, look, I was a teen, I was in my 20s. It was a phase when I was going around gunning people down in the neighborhoods of Chicago. Like, give me a break. But now he's saying he's changed. But let's talk about Idlib because this is an area they controlled, that they have been.
Yes.
What has life been like? Because they're saying, they came out and said no women are going to be forced into wearing a hijab. They came out and said no one's going to be forced. We're a Syria for everybody. But the areas they've controlled over the last few years kind of paint a different picture of what life is like under them. Their new prime minister that they have named, I guess. I know they've got Giuliani as like the de facto leader, but Mohammed al-Bashir is now the prime minister. I'm not really sure how exactly
His major is Sharia. This is
right. Yeah, he has his degree in Sharia law, right?
Yeah. His major is Sharia. This is the guy who's going to lead the prime ministry. I mean, I'm not against him leading the ministry responsible for the religious affairs, but how can he be leading a ministry for the entire cabinet? Like, he doesn't have the competence, he doesn't have the skills. This is what we were fearful of, that the Islamists will eventually infiltrate all Syria's institutions. And rest assured, we will come to this conversation later, and I will remind you, the first thing they will put their hands on are the education. The first thing they will go into the higher education and the elementary education, universities curriculum, and they will change the entire Syrian scientific-based education. Because in Syria, we mentioned Assad is an authoritarian, but the region has become into a really big dilemma. Like, people are in front of two choices. Like, it's either political authoritarianism, which respects all religions and sects and creates a secular system and also respects education, basically, and supports it, or we are in front of a theocracy. And many people have chosen to be on the side of political authoritarianism and not theocracy, because theocracy is, in my opinion, doesn't fit in the 21st century political atmosphere that we're living in. And when I impose theocracy and I say Sharia comes as the first jurisdiction, then this will negate the Syrian constitution. That's why democracy and theocracy, they don't come together. People try always to say, like, Islam is compatible with democracy. And I'm not attacking Islam at all. I'm just saying you're basically telling me communism and capitalism can, like, it's the same, like, it's just they can find a formula which communism and capitalism are implemented together. It can't. Because Islam is also a way of life. It teaches you how to, like, from waking up to eating to sleeping to all affairs, relationships, everything. And if a state comes and says we have our civil laws, which means that it's a jurisdiction written by a human being, for an Islamist, the Sharia, the Quran, comes of a higher importance. So there is a contradiction between Islamism and a civil society or civil state. Therefore, what is going to happen in Syria, they are not going to copy entire example of Idlib on the rest of Syria, because that would be so controversial in a country who has like 20 to 30% minorities. Like, unlike in Afghanistan, if you have the bigger percentage or the vast majority of the people from same color, it's easier to implement that. But in Syria, it's going to be light, like light Islamism. They're going to infiltrate first into the education system, changing the curriculum. And so they prepare the next generations to come demanding for an Islamic state, because you can indoctrinate people. You know very well that if you were born under communism, you might probably be brainwashed to be a communist. Or if you're born under an Islamic country, you may think that this is the best form of ruling, because this is how the education tells you in the country and the press and everything. So they're going to work on the long run. Their backers are very smart. Turkey and Qatar are not some random players in the region. They have a big project in the region, and they're going to implement this soft Islamic rule now, light, until the people are ready to accept an Islamic rule. And this is going to take a longer time, but it's also going to create lots of upheavals in the country because, look, Christians aren't going to accept it. Alawites aren't going to accept it. The Shiites aren't going to accept it. The Kurds aren't going to accept it. Yazidis, the Druze, Ismailis. We have over 20 different communities in Syria. They're not going to accept to live under Islamic State. So they have the choice either to like bow and accept the rule or leave. And I think many people will leave. I'm already receiving many calls from Syria, people asking me if the asylum is open in Germany. And I think, I'm not sure 100%, I will ask tomorrow a lawyer that they will open it only for minorities now. So they will help the resettlement of the minorities from Syria to the outside world and give them asylum and then integrate them and assimilate them into society in order to softly ethnically cleanse the minorities from Syria and establish an Islamic State. So everybody is complicit in this. And Syria, as we know it, is gone forever. Anyone who comes and tells me like, Syria, no, wait, I see people posting on social media, I wish for the next system to be civil, to be civilized, to be secular. Like, bro, the people who carry out the arms and fight, they're the ones who are going to impose their solutions and the outcome. They didn't pay tens of thousands of their takfiris and jihadis for you to give you the political life on a plate of gold. No, they're going to rule it because they did the fighting, and this is just a normal rule in politics and in war. Whoever wins imposes his terms, and Jolani's people are the ones going to impose the terms, and not some liberal, democracy-loving activists and foreigners saying like, we wish for Syria the best and to thrive and to have an amazing future, and we wish them to have a democracy. No, it's not going to happen. We're not delusional and naive to think that Jolani is going to establish a democratic state. He may give the country some elections, but elections are not equal to democracy if you don't respect the human rights and press rights and give the people free and equal chances to participate in the political life. That's not democracy.
Yeah. Do you imagine Giuliani ever stepping down and not being the leader of Syria while he's alive? He
will get killed, Kim. I'm 100% sure. He is a dead man walking, just like Osama bin Laden, just like Abu Bakr Baghdadi. This type of personalities, it's not like they don't come naturally. They don't come from the people. They are groomed to have a role. Mm-hmm. This is an intelligence work. And Jolani was necessary till now. And there is a $10 million bounty on his head. And rest assured, just like they killed Baghdadi and like killed Osama bin Laden, the US, you will see the next president, Trump, comes and stands in front of the podium and says, tonight we have taken surgical attacks and we have killed the terrorist Abu Bakr Jolani in Damascus or in Homs in somewhere. He will take the credit, and then they will throw his body somewhere in the ocean that nobody knows where he's killed. I mean, it's just repeating the same thing over and over again. It's become so boring for me. That's why today I took the decision that I'm going to leave Facebook completely. I'm not going to engage in these domestic affairs in Syria, because if people seriously cannot learn from the close history, just recently in Iraq and in Libya, and they want to repeat the same thing over and over again, okay, good for them. Let them enjoy this. I will just continue my foreign policy work, and I don't want to nose into the domestic affairs of Syria any longer. And good luck. And in the future, they will see what type of trap they have been stuck into. It's going to take only probably 3 years or 5 years.
I think best case scenario, Syria turns into Pakistan. So it would be like, and this is best case scenario, where yes, there's like a pretend democracy where they vote for pretend prime ministers or I don't know, what do they have, a prime minister or a president over there, that they jail. Every single one has been in prison. I think the one that was the soccer, who was the most famous one just recently, isn't he sitting in jail right now? All of them from all of them from Pakistan have been in jail at one point. or murdered, assassinated. But Pakistan is really run by the military. It's really, truly, they have this fake sort of look of democracy. And but ultimately, when foreign leaders fly in to meet with Pakistan, they don't meet with the prime minister of Pakistan. They meet with the military. They meet with the generals. So I can
Yeah.
see, best case scenario, the West kind of having that vision for Syria, where it's, yeah, we'll kind of feign democracy here and there and kind of do some fun elections, but really this HTS group is going to be the ones, as long as they play ball with the West, just like Pakistan, as long as they stay in and they'll fly to England and do their training in the UK, and they'll accept US money, and they'll be our puppets, then we will keep them somewhat stable. We'll allow some skirmishes, just like with Pakistan. They've got the area with India that's just slipping my mind right
Kashmir.
just here. Yes, Kashmir, which my
Kashmir.
previous guest was actually from there.
Mhm.
But they've got this so that they could keep the military weapons sales going. They could keep it somewhat unstable. They could keep it, there is a bit of that tension, but ultimately, that's the best case scenario I see for Syria. Obviously, worst case scenario is more endless war. The West turning on HTS suddenly after putting him in power, continuing to bomb the place, continuing to go after Syria, Israel marching in, taking more land, the people that are left behind in Syria falling to Islamic rule, to Sharia law, like the people in Idlib. And which, a lot of people like that. I mean, I'm not going to discount, there are a lot of people who are into Sharia. They prefer that as their lifestyle. That, of course, it has a level of support, but not everybody supports that. And it's the minorities, of course, the majority is going to support it in certain areas, but the question is what happens to the minorities? And they're forced either out of the country to flee, like you mentioned, or they're forced into it. I was reading through a lot of forums from people living in Idlib and doing a lot of translation, and people asking, what's life been like there? And, a lot of them say, look, it's better now. Yes, we're forced to wear the hijab. Yes, we're segregated men to women. Yes, women are more, women aren't able to do as much, but it's better because there's not as much violence. I think, so that's one thing, is that if there is a stabilization and lack of violence, people will tolerate living in like a Handmaid's Tale style environment as long as they're safe, right? They'll put up with ultra conservatism or even ultra liberalism, whatever it is, as long as they feel that's better than being bombed to death. I mean, it is,
Yeah,
right?
so
So
we
that's one
replace
thing we
so
can
we
hope for.
replace authoritarianism. So we replace authoritarianism, which already secures or gives security to the people and safety, with another type of authoritarianism, with this time
Right,
more religious authoritarianism. That's why I say it's not a progress. I mean, the
right,
situation in Idlib is like, look, in Syria, under Assad, you were free to wear the niqab, completely even block your eyes, nobody can see you, into the exactly the opposite side. You can wear a miniskirt in the street, and rest assured, if somebody comes closer to you, then you will see like a social, like random men in the street coming to protect a woman who might have been harassed. There is this social control in the country that women cannot be touched. So you were able to live this and that. So if you're an Islamist and you want to live an Islamic life, and not to impose your values on the rest,
right,
then you could live freely. But under HTS in Idlib, you must cover your head. And today I saw a school photo from secondary school in Idlib. Everybody is wearing a niqab, not even a hijab. And
right,
I'm very wary, because Syria is we're talking about one of the early civilizations of humanity, and this is where agriculture started, writing, and many inventions that nowadays we take it for granted. This was the root started from there, and it developed. They were like a woman ruler of Syria. Right, Zanubia in Palmyra. We had so many different civilizations, and just summarizing everything into this one particular group, it doesn't make sense for me, because Syria needs to have a government which gives equal opportunity for all, and not one group
right,
comes and imposes its religious beliefs. Now, under Assad, it was a political oppression, right? Like, if you are a Muslim, Christian, anything, infidel, he doesn't care. As long as your loyalty is for the regime, they don't care, and they give you lots of opportunities if you are loyal. Like, it's
Hmm.
not based on sect or religion. But this system that is going to be built now, it's going to be religious, it's going to be sectarian. From
Yeah.
the flag behind the current so-called prime minister of Syria, it's quite obvious. It's the same flag of a Taliban anyways, and they're sending already the vibes. And this is not the Syria that I belong to, and in any ways, they don't even consider me Syrian because I'm an ethnic Armenian. I was born and raised in Syria. For them, I'm not even considered the Syrian. They say I have to go back to Armenia. But in any ways, even if they accept me, like, my security in Syria and even my parents, like, it has become, it's a gravely dangerous. I don't
Right.
want to send back my parents or go back there and live just like nothing happened. No, it's a big change, a big shift, and I think we deserve we deserve so much better than this.
You're absolutely right, Kavork. I'm sorry this happened to your country. I'm sorry this has happened to your family. Having to flee your country is not easy. I know my family did it, and it's not easy, but hopefully they'll find
Yeah.
safety and opportunity somewhere else. Hopefully somewhere beautiful and warm and safe. And I don't know
Yeah.
where they're going,
Yeah.
but hopefully it's great. And Kavork, thank you so much for giving us a bit of insight into this. I think that you clarified quite a bit for us, and it's crazy right now watching the West. The media, like you say, kind of whitewash this guy's history and act like, oh, head chopping was his phase in the past. It's fine, no big deal. And Syria is going to be great in the hands of these Sharia law. People that are going to enact Sharia law across the country, and that should have been their biggest clue right there when they say, yeah, we're going to be moderate, but then they put Mohammed al-Bashir, the guy who has, like you said, he's like, his whole thing is Sharia, and they make him the prime minister of the place. It's like that should have been the clue right there, that they don't have any intention of keeping the place secular. Now it's not only going to be a religious persecution, not only is it going to be probably political persecution. We're already seeing that with all of the executions and
Yes.
whatnot, but it's also going to be religious on top of that. So it will be worse
Yes.
for the people
Yes.
ultimately, but maybe better if the violence stops. But I'm
I
not
hope
holding
so.
my breath for that. I'm not holding my
I,
breath for
I,
that, but
I
I hope
don't
so.
build, I don't, Yeah, I don't build my expectations on hopes. I truly hope, like, I truly wish for the Syrian people peace, but I'm not naive. And I see that all these weapons in the hands of the crazies in the streets, including multinational jihadists from all around the world, like with the Uyghurs, from Uzbekistan, from Tajikistan, from Saudi Arabia, they're just roaming around with their PKCs and their AK-47s, and they're shooting in the air, and they are basically going into Christian neighborhoods and asking people, what religion are you? And I mean, this type of things we have never witnessed in Syria before. And I don't think under such militants, Syria can see light again.
Yeah.
Therefore, I'm not optimistic. I'm pessimistic. I wish the best for the Syrian people, and I would love to see them thrive. But I'm not naive, and I think that this is going to be a very difficult path for them.
Okay, so you said that you've deleted your Facebook, but your show, Syriana Analysis, your channel, are you still going to be talking about Syria?
Yes, I will only focus on foreign affairs of Syria with the region, definitely. But I'm sure that when Syria is over, the people igniting these wars, they will find some other spot to ignite a war because that's how they make money. So, unfortunately speaking, wars will never stop. This is in the nature of how they make their wealth, basically.
Yeah.
Therefore, I expect that they will flare the fires in some other places. So we have to be awake and also try to report about these wars even before it happens. If we can expect them and also waken up more people, that would be amazing, because this is the job that I would like to do for life. I don't want them to suffer like I suffered. That's why I do what I do. This is my motivation. I wake up, I want to tell the people the truth that I believe is the truth, and I want to tell them to waken up more people, open up the eyes so that they push against this type of wars and not to be fooled by the narratives. And I mean, if I ask probably now 100 people in Germany, maybe 90 of them would tell me like, oh, nice, the Assad dictator is gone. Right? Because this is what they're told by the press. If you turn on your
Right.
TV, even in Germany, it's crazy. They're
Yeah.
celebrating. Like, and they
Yeah.
don't tell what is HTS. So,
Kevork, thank you so much for joining us. The link is down below to Syriana Analysis, your own channel, which you do. How often do you do a show?
I'm doing daily between Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern American time, always on YouTube and Rumble.
Okay, well, that link is down below, and I'm sure you'll get a lot of follows, people wanting to know more
Thank you.
about what's going on in the Middle East. So, Kevork, thank you so much.
I appreciate it, Kim. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for watching. This was just a clip from the longer, larger show that you can catch Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern at KimIversonShow.com. That'll route you to the platform where you need to be in order to get the full uncensored show every Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Click on that link, watch the full interview. See you there.